When I went to college, I had to have a part-time job, and I got a job at the college poultry lab. And what my job was each day to go and work with 10,000 chickens and gather and size and wash and stack and take care of eggs. That's what we did most days, but not on Thursday. Thursday had an entirely different schedule. On Thursday, we shoveled manure. We cleaned out the chicken pens. We shoveled manure. Most of the time, it was just pretty messy work. We would take a wheelbarrow and we would wheel it in and take our shovel and fill the wheelbarrow and then take it out and dump it into a front end loader who would then dump it into the dump truck. That was all fine and good until our water system broke one time. And on that day, water poured into our chicken sheds and soaked the manure and filled the chicken sheds well above our knees with what we can only call poop soup. Now, shoveling this became a lot trickier. As you'd take your shovel and your wheelbarrow, you had to dribble it into the wheelbarrow, because if you didn't, you splattered everyone and everything around you. And when you took it out and dumped it into the front end loader, and they tried to dump it into the truck, they always lost about half of it. The problem was that our front end loader operator wasn't paying attention. And as he filled the truck, he didn't pay attention to how much of this wet manure he was putting in the truck. And he filled the truck to the very top of the bed with poop soup. Now, our job was to take that truck and drive it down through the city, trying as much as we could to go on back streets and take it to farms that were south of the town. So, my friend Bob and I had the opportunity to take that first load. And as we headed out, we went as slow as we could, because the entire truck was just rocking as that poop soup would just move back and forth. And as we were weaving our way through back streets of the city, there was one place where we couldn't go on the back streets. And so on a main street, we came to a stoplight and we began to slow down. Bob was driving and he let the truck start to die and then slowly put the clutch in. And we just slowly came to a stop at that red light when a little sports car whipped right in front of us and stopped, hit its brakes. I actually had the time to turn to Bob and say, "Bob, what are we going to do?" And Bob said, "All we can do." And he locked it up. And that manure, that wet manure, exploded out of the front of that truck, all down the front of our truck, and all over that little car. That little car deserved it. Who didn't deserve it was the little car who drove up right behind us. And after all of that manure had exploded out of the front of the truck, it sloshed back and exploded out of the back of the truck and covered the front of the car behind us. I said to Bob, "What do we do now?" And Bob, who had a lot of common sense, said, "Turn on the wipers," which is just what we did. Now, two little cars headed off, I imagine, to find a car wash. And we continued, and when we got down to those farms on the south end of town, we realized that we had lost more than half of our load. Now, the very worst part was this. To dump the truck, we had to actually get out of the truck and operate that from the outside of the truck. And so I opened the truck, and as fast as I could, I tried to jump out. But a huge amount of manure dripped off the cab of the truck and right down the back of my neck. When we came back, we noticed that a huge chicken patty had covered the street from curb to gutter to curb to gutter in that spot. And we drove back. Our boss was fairly mad at us, but there was nothing we could do. But the lesson I really learned from this was, if you're going to play with manure, if you're going to be involved in things that are dirty, you're going to get it on you. And if you're going to play with things that are good and clean and right, you're going to get that on you. You can't play with something, you can't deliver something, you can't dump something without getting it on you.